All right, very good. Welcome to the Democracy Delivered Thursday night meeting. Usually this is an open informational call that kind of covers what we've done during the Tuesday night meeting. I'm going to cover that very briefly. I call it a crystallization process, but we started out as an idea, which was basically supported by some faithful folks. We moved to a Google account, went to a rented intranet.
Mike,
what's up?
We lost you.
I'm still here. Hold on.
There you are. Gotcha.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that.
Your audio was cutting out, Mike.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I'll keep an eye on that here. So, Aaron, if for some reason I drop, and I don't know why I would, but if you'll just take over in open discussion about the logic models. But I just wanted to set the stage. We are moving rapidly to the point where our technological capability will need a little bit of an upgrade. Our personnel status is improving immensely. We've looked at processes, including payment processes, gone through several payment cycles. Our shopping maturity is improving. We've got very consistent shoppers. Sam and I talked earlier today, and I think we're up to 32 or 33 dedicated folks that shop regularly through the site. Those percentages are excellent. If you extrapolate that out, to 10,000 or 1 million people, that's an immense amount of revenue. We've got contracts in place and are about to be in place with our prescription and non-prescription discounts, and really those are free entry into health networks. And Wade did some great negotiating. I'm so appreciative of his years of experience, and we talked about those in detail. But in short, if you're a Democracy Delivered member, let's say that you're a free member that isn't momentarily at the best economic status, you sign up and you're in your low 20s and use a Democracy Delivered prescription RX card, which is free to anyone, both free and premium participants. The drug companies through the pharmacies provide payment, and we return that payment right now at 80%. For each of those transactions, which is going to be an immense amount of revenue for both the individuals, our participants, and the company over time. And over time, we'll drop that. And really, our goal is to return as much of that revenue as possible to our constituency. So those type of savings, including shopping and the value that we're going to garner from advertising, I think is going to help a lot of folks. So we're excited about that. So that's in place already. So we've got a BIN number already, and that's tied directly to the Optimum Health Network. We're going to have a call, I think, later this week with a way to explain that in a little more detail. That can benefit anyone, even those of us that have single provider healthcare or multiple provider healthcare in the house. That can add some additional savings in some key areas, which is great. All right, so that's kind of an update where we've gained in capital since last month. We've already covered this month's expenses. In effect, we're going to continue to do that. We're a stronger company as it stands. Thank you to Michelle, who is excited in joining us. She's our next independent contractor. We've got 3 total. If you need tech support or explanation or understanding, she will be there to do that. And is really designed to be the human interface to our IT interfaces, which have some bumps and bruises here and there. We know that, but it's I think pretty exciting times. With that said, my friend and counterpart Aaron, who's always kept us kind of with a true north focus in terms of where we stand, has really built what I would call in navigational terms the kind of the compass of the company. So many organizations get formed, they start chasing the dollar naturally, and don't really get their strategic plans in place that align with some type of rational approach. So Aaron has already done some great homework in that process. We've got some new folks on the phone, Aaron. So if you can, I'm going to hand it over to you just to kind of explain. This is, and you've got a good 30 minutes to work through this if you'd like. And then we're going to lead into a discussion about how and where we can add value, where you've got perceived holes, as you've noted, which should be great. So if you need to share your screen, feel free to do that. If not, I can look that stuff up. It's going to take me a minute. But why don't I turn it over to you, given that context, okay?
All right. I'm not trying to be difficult. I just want to be clear. What do you want me to cover? You want me to cover what the purpose of the model is and each one of the things? Does everyone, at least the staff that got emailed, did they receive, it should have been 3 documents, which is the actual model, then a breakdown, which takes into account the tasks that everyone sent me, and key performance indicators with the initials of the guardian or sentinel that is working on that item. And also a list of the key performance indicators so you know where those came from. Does everybody have that? Or I should say, who doesn't have it? And we can probably email it to you really quickly so you're working from the same sheet of paper. Is everybody good? Okay.
I'm checking, Aaron. I don't know if I got it or not. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to share screen, Aaron, and then we'll talk through that too. So I've got your email here, and I can refer to anyone that you like.
Is that the latest one? Okay,
yes,
good. Okay, so why don't you bring up the actual model? Why don't we no, definitely not that. Just bring up the KPI to start with, since we've got new people on the line.
Let's see which one.
Okay. All right. So way back when Stu wanted to get some key performance indicators of the company to try to figure out how we can measure what we're doing or how we're doing it. And everyone contributed, but I would have to say Justin, Mike Moyers, and myself went through. It was a little excruciating, but we nailed it down to this many key performance indicators. Now, we will probably revise these. These were the ones at the time. And so if you look at, there's 8 of them, and there are sub KPI. So, for example, I would expect, as we have more things on our site, we'll have more key performance indicators. And one that says virtual mall may be just online activity. So that's where we started with key performance indicators. However, as you know, we did at one point start reporting on as many as we could collect, and that's kind of tailed off. And I don't know that we're even tracking some of these, so that's work to be done there. All right, so you got the key performance indicators. Okay, so can you bring up the actual model itself, Stu?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. And if you can make it a little bigger. Okay. So this shouldn't be new. Many companies, many institutions, organizations use logic models. They come in all sorts of different formats. And so it is an attempt to try to tease out what the strategic goals of the company are and link them all the way. It's called strategic mapping, all the way down to what any company member does, and try to tie it into a map towards those strategic goals. From inputs, and that's what basically what goes into Democracy Delivered. And you can see we have big one, online participation. We can't run this company without online participation, so that's an input. Right now, in order to grow, we have to recruit participants. It's the way the model of this company is set up, so can't do it without that. We are developing a company. We're in, I call it phase 2. So we need to draft governance policy and process documents, decide how we're going to form this company, what it's going to look like. A big thing in that people are working on is developing marketing tools to attract or bring on more participants. Onboarding is a huge thing. So onboarding users, a lot of time is spent there. Accounting, obviously. We're in the business of making money, and money goes in and money goes out. So accounting is huge. Website maintenance and operations. We are a web-based company. And then company administration, because we need to do that. So then we go into, those are the inputs, and then these are actually the activities. And some of them sound the same, but actually the inputs go into the activities. However, I'm open to anyone who wants to change things, but actually the little numbers there link later on to the outputs we're looking for, the outcomes we want, and the strategic goals. So a lot of these are taken from what we've been doing, what we've been working on, what people provided us. Again, outputs, number of participants vested, and that would be, however we're calling them, premium, and then regular participants. And then, we're working on trying to get recurring and diverse sources of revenue, not just the virtual mall. Obviously, website functionality is huge. We can't do this without online work and user activity. And we mustn't lose sight of a big vision of this company, which is to build an endowment for charitable purposes, and eventually get to that stage. Outcomes, this is where we need, I need input from everyone. We need to come to a little bit of a consensus on outcomes, because if we don't agree on those, we're going to have trouble functioning. And then, again, with strategic goals, that's like, what do we want to do in the end? What do we want to be? Where do we want to go? A lot of this resides with the founder and the owner. And so we're all aligned. This is really an alignment document. So if you could bring up the last one, Stu.
Absolutely, Aaron. Let me get back here.
So this is my attempt at trying to pull it all together. And it looks like yours got messed up in the format somehow, because it shouldn't be out of alignment there.
Yeah, it's probably Google Docs that's interpreting that. So.
Yeah, so can you move those columns down so they're even? Can you fiddle with it? It just, you need like a 1 return, 2 returns, and then 3 returns across.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work here, Aaron. Let's see. I'll try to
if not, just bring it back up.
All right, let's see if this will work here. Let's see.
Did the version that gets sent via email, Mike Morris, is it lined up properly? Or anyone that has it open?
Mine looks the same as
yes, mine is aligned. Maybe I can try to share the screen, Mike.
Yeah, that's fine. Alice, you can try that. Go ahead. That'd be great.
Okay, let me give it a
This is worse.
No, I can't, because Mike has it over. Yeah, so.
Oh, yes.
Mike, you got to stop sharing first.
Got it.
There we go.
There you go.
Got it.
Hey, thank you. All right.
You're welcome.
Okay. So,
I have to do it that way because the pictures, the videos of everyone else is going to be on the side of my computer or my screen.
Okay.
Maybe I can just, if I make
That's
it big,
that's
you won't be
fine.
able to
Just
see
like
it. Can
that.
you see
That's
everything?
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, God. Okay. Sorry. What happened? Okay.
Awesome. Mike Morris, check your text, please.
Can you see
there
it?
you go.
Okay, there
Okay.
you go.
Don't touch any more buttons.
Yeah, no, I won't.
Okay, so on the left-hand side, people should recognize some of that because that's from what you sent me or what I got. Eventually it got to me. And what I did is I tried to boil down all your text on what you're working on, and I got it down to 20 goals or tasks. If there are some missing or you'd like to add to it, let me know. And I didn't want to get too specific. So somebody had very specific like numbers. I'm going to get this many participants. Since this is a kind of a generic model and kind of numbers are going to change over time, these are just general goals and tasks. Then I linked it to, where in the logic model, like, well, how is that like online work? How does that contribute to the outcomes we're looking for in the company? Those are the linkages. And then I took the key performance indicators, the list we have, and pulled out, what key performance indicator could be used to measure the performance of that goal or task, or what goal or task affects a key performance indicator of the company. That's what they are. And you see there are some things that we do that we are not measuring. So we have to ask, is that something we need to continue doing? Example is draft policy, governance, docs. We all agree we got to do that, but there's no key performance indicator to measure that. Not directly. Some would say indirectly. So there's a few things there that we're not measuring, or we don't have any measurement tool for. And you see there are some things that have several key performance indicators, and those kind of coincide with the level of importance. Finance and accounting. One that I personally feel we need to work on a little bit is risk management. That contributes to a lot of the success of the company, particularly if you don't do it. It can be detrimental. And then on the right-hand side are the gardening and sentinels and their initials, so you know that where you fall out on this. Of course, if there's mistakes, I've missed people, I've left things off, let me know. That's basically what this model is all about. And we should change it over time. But I think if you look down the goals and tasks, we're going to be doing those for the foreseeable future. Example, number 8, website quality assurance, quality control. We're going to keep doing that. Web operations and maintenance, keep doing that. Web development and innovation, we're going to keep doing that. So there's a lot of things we're just going to continue on, and we're going to want to measure how we're doing against some type of parameter. So that's what I got. Stu, questions?
Excellent. No, that's great. And I think, this is a living document, but it's designed to, and really already has taken a step forward towards professionalizing our processes. So I'm really excited about this, just to help us, basically get organized. I know John Hennigan's on the line. We will meld this with the work list and then, in effect, prioritize where our resources will go. I think in a couple weeks or months, we're going to get influxes of capital that will help us, continue to build out these line items into functioning. Could be, divisions. It could be, groupings. But eventually, you're going to see organizational structure that kind of follows along these lines. It's interesting to note. I was just studying some of the big, the big companies. align themselves. And you can see that without a good focus initially, it can cost a lot of money to get realigned or to change some of this. So I think it'll be very thoughtful down the line, as it comes to play. So Aaron, thanks. That was excellent. I think that will be helpful for those Sentinels and Guardians that couldn't make the call tonight. They'll watch this, and then we're going to enter into the discussion next week. But you want to see, if you're an individual involved with a company, you want to see an indicator that is tied to you, because that is representative that then in effect you're adding value, and what you're doing is measured in a way that's valuable. So, and then it ends up being a good communication between the entity itself and those key aspects and those folks, so that they understand when they're doing a good job or where we need to focus, which is great. So awesome, Aaron. Thanks. Any other comments, Aaron, you want to add to that?
Yeah, could we go back to the actual model, Alex? On the left. Yeah, perfect. So when doing this, you can figure out really right away where we need to do more work, and where there are holes. For example, I think we are all in agreement that we want this to be a charitable organization, or have a arm. And you can see I've got stuff in output and outcome and strategic goals, but there are no activities or inputs that link it. It's just not happening. So that, to me, that's like, ooh, we got to get some inputs. So there's no inputs that drive an activity that I know we want to do, and an output. So, and some of them may be incorrect. So, this thing, I'd love to get some more feedback so we can tweak it a little bit. And then, like I said, I think on an earlier call, not everybody was on, but I would suspect that we can get this on our site and have a dashboard eventually, and have a robust measurement tool for how our company is doing.
Absolutely, and you can see
agree with that.
Yeah, I knew Justin was going to kind of jump in there. So, Justin, if you want to add any comment, I mean, you dealt with the requirements before, and this is a roadmap. You kind of get handed off a piece of this. Any comments on it?
I need to understand this document a little bit more, to get a full picture. But I think I get where you're going with it. The other documents are great. You're right. They really uncover the holes of the things that we're not measuring, which begs to question: are we supposed to be going down this path, or do we need to spend some more effort trying to get those things done? And how do we do that? This one, I just need to understand a little bit more, as far as like how this is laid out. But I think I understand what you're getting at here. And yes, I'm really looking forward to being able to put a dashboard in place that shows you exactly how you are influencing or participating, how your participation is influencing our performance.
Alex, bring up the other one. This one isn't all that good. And Justin, this logic model stuff, I work on it, but like I said to Stu, I've briefed admirals that don't get it. So, or how to do a logic model, how to put it together. So it's not intuitive to everybody. It's just how your brain is wired. It takes a little time. It took me a while to get it. But this is the powerful page, this one right here. I think that's what you're looking at, where you have your goals and tasks on one side, and then you have who's working on it on the other end, and then how to measure it, and then how it ties into our company, it's not really a roadmap. It's just how we pull everything together from strategy to the actual what we do every day.
So that's all I mean, is just spending time taking this legend and like plugging all of those things in and just trying to understand it a little bit better. I think once I do that, we'll have deeper conversations about it. That's all I'm saying.
Excellent.
No, it's great. And I think, anyone, in simple terms, if you've ever watched Shark Tank or been privy to discussions about when folks bring larger dollars in, it's going to be apparent that this company has an immensely powerful value, a model that is economically powerful. And then the next steps is the team in place, or does the leadership of the organization recognize how to get through each of the stages, and do they know when to call in to get help and use those resources appropriately, and grow in an integrated manner that it's almost like an airplane taking off through that process. So these steps will absolutely allow that to happen. So excellent. Any other questions or comments on the model, and then I'll kind of shift to a little bit more of a strategic discussion. So any questions on the model itself in particular? Okay, great. Thank you, Aaron, for your awesome focus and energy. And Aaron kind of took his thought process, listened, and got us to the first couple steps here, which is great. And then we're going to continue to build this out, and then pull it absolutely into a dashboard. So, with that said, let's just talk a little bit of I use the term strategic outlook, which is different than tactical, in terms of the steps that are going to get there. But in general sense, when you have so many people looking at one particular screen or an interface that has an absolute implied value, each of you are part of social networks, whether it be or just networks in general, at work, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google, all these capture your eyes in different ways. We recognize the implied value. The market caps of some of those largest companies in the world right now don't sell that much other than access to your eyes. So we recognize the value of that, and we're going to leverage it carefully with an ethos that honors humans equally, and then return a very large portion of that value back to the user under a philosophy that says, it's kind of theirs to begin with, so let's return that. We've already got piles of value that are increasing. The shopping is there. The online work, there are examples. Wade's helped. He's on the line there, but he's helped bring in and expand that shopping experience immensely with the prescription RX. Advertising will be coming soon, and the wise companies that recognize that will start to throw some value at that in anticipation of those spots. So if someone came to you and said, the Jumbotron in Yankee Stadium, or the largest screen in National Stadium, or the Green Monster in Boston, if they were building that stadium and they said to you, how would you like to throw some money into building the stadium, and we'll give you a portion of that screen forever, those type of investments are extremely valuable. So quantifying the value of those eyes, we're going to use existing models already, but the intent is to go out in a couple weeks and start to have these conversations. We are raising individual premium participant money $1,000 at a time, and that can be given under any payment structure necessary, so anyone can contribute and participate and gain from the value of this early on. So if someone wants to give $5 a month, that's great. We support that. If they want to write a $1,000 check, that's great. If they want to write a $100,000 check, they can't give that much because the design was designed to give it to 10,000 folks in an even distribution. Those, I'll use the term royalties that come from that, are going to be immensely powerful over time. And then the corporate money that we're going to bring in is going to have a finite relationship to it, but the original 10,000 people that had faith in the entity will be rewarded with no constraint on that reward over time. So that's good news. So you kind of see strategically where we're headed. What we don't have full control over is the timing of the number of people that we bring in. We can't control how many knock at the door. We can control how many we let in to make sure we're growing properly. And we want to be able to make sure we can scale appropriately. We're not there yet, but we will be after the first influx of funding, and that can come from a few different areas. So we've got dedicated folks. The list of Sentinels and Guardians has really crystallized itself into those that are in for the long haul, and we appreciate that. Our supporting teammates are there, and their roles will grow immensely. So I'm personally going to be focused on, and Aaron has asked for my goals, Wade has asked for my goals, but with respect to the company, I will be interacting with corporate money starting in about 10 days to 2 weeks, and then looking to set up those meetings, over the 6 or 7 months, and making sure that we can, marry ourselves with the right type of companies that have the same ethos. So it's exciting. We're about to turn some pretty key corners, and we're looking forward to it. So, which is great. All right. With that said, I'm going to any questions open. If you've got something that's bothering you about a certain aspect, we'll get on the record. I know John Hennigan and Justin and Sammy are listening. So you've kind of heard the macro view. I'll just leave it to open discussion if anybody has any questions in particular.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, this is Sam Barnes. First of all, I just want to say I've been MIA, but kind of listening in now and again. But if you do want to connect, I've worked in M&A for like 6 years. So if you want to connect on the raising capital part, just hit me up offline, and I might be able to lend some value there. But I guess I was just a little curious. So, I guess kind of a specific question is, so you're not really thinking of this as a giving an equity stake kind of arrangement, right? That's not really on the table for the corporate money?
Yeah, that's such a great question, Sam, and thanks. And I am so pleased to know that we've got your brain in the mix, and I'll definitely bounce some of these thoughts off. But basically, about 8% goes to the original 10,000 individuals, and that is not ownership, but it is an into perpetuity, really royalty that is theirs to do with it what they like. That could be split up amongst family members later on, et cetera, et cetera. But the corporate money, we're going to enter into contractual relationships, not give up equity. But as an example, if someone wanted to provide $250,000, we would return that $250,000 plus a return from the $10 million we're raising, and then offer an advertising position, which will grow in its value for a specific period of time. So we can calculate that math, enter into an agreement that basically says we're going to return 5, 6, 7x times that money in a few different ways. Now, that's all open to negotiation. When I was at a bar on Wall Street, I intentionally went there just to start talking to some high rollers, and they said, wait, you're never going to sell the company? And they just literally stopped talking to me, like just that moment. So it's very interesting in that context. So, but the entity itself by design won't be sold, but the things that are created within it most certainly can be, right? So it's pretty easy to create a corporation within the corporation and move on. So I think that's some of the thought. I look forward to your thought process on it. We do have a couple private individuals in mind, but I think with $250 to $1 million, we're a whole different company. That helps us get our 10 million in a much smoother way, and then off we go. So does that help? Does that help the discussion?
Yeah, that helps a lot. And I don't see any like issues with that model. That seems doable in many ways. So yeah, I might be able to help, at least give some ideas, and you'll need to put together probably a pitch book, right? So I've done it a couple times. I've done it a couple times, so we can talk about that later.
That's great, Sam. I have not, most certainly do not have any experience, and I appreciate the support. So, you know, the 250 gets us 10 million. After that, we've got a functioning entity, about 6 million in after-tax dollars in the account. We're starting to pay the staff. We've redesigned our IT interface, and we're poised to move from 10,000 folks to over 1 million. And Justin, has experience in scaling, and we can talk about all that. So Sam, thank you so much. We'll be reaching out. So any other questions out there? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that real quick. First off, that was really great knowledge that you gave there, Mike. I think that's the first time I've heard you explain that as clearly as you just did, as far as corporations and how we can raise capital to be able to take us to the next level. That's awesome. And then Sam, I absolutely would love to see a pitch book. So if we could put that together, I'd be ecstatic. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a lot of options. As an example, Aaron Davenport and I have a service-disabled veterans small-owned business, and that entitles veterans to a lot of resources and capability. There are Patriot Express loans out there that we can get within 48 hours up to $500K. Our income level right now, financially, most certainly supports that type of endeavor, but that is not necessarily the spirit of how we want to grow the company. We want to add more folks, more support, a greater base. Every person that joins, you can literally calculate the economic value and then discount our potential cash flows. So there's a lot of options out there already. I think it's arguable we've made it through the hard part of a startup. We've kind of established the culture, the ethos. We have a core group of dedicated folks. There's a value to our entity. So, and we've basically done so with about 140K, and then we've also done so, and Mike knows these exact values, but we've done so with a leveraged team to get to where we are is pretty cool. We've probably sold really what, Mike, about 1.5% of the company, a little less than 1%. Oh, sorry. He's going to drop off mute. He's saying timeout. He's checking it out. So the 150 people so far represent what? He's trying to jump. He's checking it out. All right, he'll jump back in and give us a little brief with exact values. But it's important, and all that's in full transparency. So there's nothing. We are really selling honesty at levels that we should be proud of, because it's important. So good stuff. All right, any other questions out there in any particular area? I saw Henry jumped on. Henry, any thoughts? Welcome. Is it snowing in South Carolina tonight, or?
It's nice and cool.
Very good. You have any cruises planned lately?
We're flying to Hawaii Valentine's Day.
There you go. Henry, I'm proud of you. You vacation, nice. You real should.
Thank you.
All right, I got your numbers.
Here, so I'm trying to figure out how to put video on Democracy Delivered, but I literally can't figure out how to do it.
There's a way. It's clunky. Michelle now can help support it. It's a little bit of a pain, but the best way is to right now put something on YouTube and then upload the link, which is probably the easiest way to do that. But awesome, Mike. Let's go ahead and you can just read out the numbers exactly to get them on the record, so anybody that wants to listen can hear it. So.
Yep. To date, we've promised, what's the right word, 1.1377 and some more decimals % of the company. And we have collected to date $110,120. Now, we have more promised. Some folks are paying kind of as they go, but that's how much we've collected. The 10,000, once we fill up every spot, we will have allocated 8.6% of the company.
Which is great. So if we were all sharks sitting on Shark Tank, that's what Kevin Leary would ask for, is a royalty, and sometimes he shoots for it into perpetuity. But it was designed to be the sweetest, most ideal return on energy and investment. So that percentage, grows over time. So as the company makes a couple $1 billion, those are large values. It goes out to the original 10,000, and that's because you've accepted the risk. You've dealt with the challenges, the headaches, the phone calls, this journey, and the reward is designed for you. So that's good stuff. Those are going to be big numbers.
Outstanding.
Awesome, guys. Okay, well, it's 8:45. Aaron, thank you so much. Thank you if you joined, to Alex, John Hennigan, Mike Moyers, Sammy, and Justin. Looks like the Walshes are here. Wade is there. My wife texts me during the middle of the call. She goes, "Do I know where the screwdrivers are?" Everyone's got a boss, right? So I got to run to go help build something with some screwdrivers. I'm going to drop off the call, and Alex, you can officially end the recorded portion, and then you guys